It's time to wake up San Gabriel Valley with CCN Sunrise.
Welcome back with us to CCN Sunrise. We have the West Covina mayor here and a taste of sunrise.
We have a great rest of the show. We also have beautiful jewelry from Alita Zoe. She has, her business is jewelry with a cause, for a cause. So we'll be talking about that a little bit later too. But first up, we have the Morning Buzz, and we have our mayor from West Covina. This is our inaugural show here in West Covina, so thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And you are James Toma. Tell us a little bit about the city of West Covina and how long you've been on the city council.
So I've been the mayor for all of 72 hours. I was sworn in on Tuesday.
Fantastic.
But I've been on the city council for a couple of years. I got elected in November of 2013.
Great. So,
very nice. I'm more important. Where are the good places to eat here?
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot. We have places all throughout our city. A lot of people, we're right off the 10, so a lot of people, whether they live in West Covina or not, have actually been to West Covina to eat, to shop at the mall. Some of my favorite places, Lucille's Barbecue is a fabulous place. Lazy Dog, which is also in the mall.
Oh, yeah.
One of my favorite smaller places is Far East Joint, which is an Asian fusion place over the lakes. We have a lot of good restaurants, a lot of ethnic restaurants too. We have a neighborhood in Amar and Azusa that has a lot of Filipino restaurants. And there's a lot of Mexican food and so forth. So we got a lot of choices in West Covina.
Wow, a lot of different choices
is
too.
Grand kind of considered your center point? Or?
No, so that's actually a good question, because when West Covina, I won't get into the historical reasons, but it never really got built up with a downtown. A lot of people know our mall, the Plaza West Covina. Mm-hmm. We have an auto mall. But one of the things that we're working on in the city is developing or revising our general plan to actually create a downtown in West Covina, which will be there along Vincent, right off the 10, where the lakes is, and back there on Glendora. And this is a multi-year process where we look at West Covina, what the residents want, what kinds of things will attract people to West Covina, because more and more shopping is online, but people want an experience when they go shopping and to live near places that they can walk to and bike to. So that's one of the major things that we're working on in West Covina.
Do you have more residential or kind of communal settings?
Yes, we are very residential. Most of our city is single-family homes. Mm-hmm. It used to be called the City of Beautiful Homes. A lot of our growth was actually in the 50s. And so it's primarily residential, but we do have a pretty large commercial corridor and a lot of other businesses that support our city as well.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here, and we have a few topics that we'd like to discuss on the Morning Buzz.
Sure.
So we have some really difficult, really sad news.
Yeah,
the topic of
the shootings in San Bernardino right now.
Yeah.
14 people were killed. And I know everybody's been talking about that. That's been the big topic of conversation these days. So have you here in West Covina really been thinking about how that's going to affect the city?
Right. Yeah. Obviously, that's impacted all of us. It's been in the news 24/7 for the past couple days, and my heart goes out to the families of the victims of the shooting. We've been trying to be proactive in terms of anticipating these things. One of the biggest fears these days is these mass shootings. I believe there's been more mass shootings in the country than there have been days of the year in 2015, very sadly.
Oh, that's staggering.
So one of the things that we did earlier this year to prepare is we did a big demonstration where we closed down the mall at West Covina, had our West Covina Police Department and agencies from around the whole San Gabriel Valley commit. We had actors who play acted and role played so that we could be ready for such an event should it ever happen in West Covina. We've also visited a lot of our schools to make sure that they have their emergency plans in place, because heaven forbid something like this should ever happen in West Covina. We want to be prepared, and we rely upon our first responders to be there, because seconds count, as everyone always says.
Well, who would have thought at this location too that somebody would just
Right. Well, it can happen anywhere.
And you're somewhat familiar with the campus then too, right?
I am. There's several buildings there, and they pretty much the conference rooms, the building that stages all that was really hit. That's where people were having their Christmas parties and things. So you mentioned it being proactive, and I applaud you for that. Because we live in a reactive society, governed by a reactive government. How hard is it to work with the state and the federal government on this? It sounds like you're
we even have
doing
a federal vote
Right,
on a
there
federal
was-
issue.
There was some legislation, I believe it was just yesterday. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
most of the issues with respect to gun and gun violence are controlled by the state or the federal government.
Mm-hmm.
The cities have little leeway in those areas. I do know that a bill, as you mentioned, was brought up in the Senate, I believe it was yesterday, to expand the background checks for people to purchase guns, and also, I think, to prohibit persons who are on the terrorist watch list from purchasing guns. And that bill
Right.
died in the Senate.
It's kind of sad to
yesterday.
hear. I mean, it's okay to fly on plane, or you can't fly on planes, but you can go and purchase weapons.
Yeah, we have obviously mentally ill people and other people who do not have guns, people with anger management problems.
Which is
and
why
other
we have
issues.
background checks, but.
Right, and we have assault rifles that are easily purchased, and so these are problems, and it's been stymied at the government levels, at the state and federal.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering what the rationale was behind thinking that it was okay to vote against people who are on a list that we're watching, but they can still carry a weapon with them.
Right, they can't fly, I believe, on the airplanes
Right.
because they're on that list, but they're allowed to purchase long guns and handguns and whatnot.
Yeah, and ammunition.
Does the city of West Covina have any restrictions, or do we support your police officers with certain types of ammunition, or?
Right. I mean, obviously, making sure that our police force is well prepared for these kinds of situations, body armor and so forth, is very important because they never know what kind of situation they're going to step into.
Body cameras?
Right. We are getting cameras for our cars. That's our first step. I know
Okay.
that there have been other agencies that have moved forward with body cameras, and I think that's something to look at down the road. There's various policies and practices that have been discussed and debated. I think we're going to wait and see how that goes before we go to that extra step. But that is an aspect that we're moving forward on with more cameras to protect not only the public, but also to protect the police, because
Right.
it shows exactly what happens. I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
actually very helpful to our police force in case there's any dispute.
Yeah, Mayor Toma, thank you very much for visiting us today, and we're very pleased to be in your great city.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Up next, she's a high-end jewelry designer.
Alita Zoe, yeah, she's coming on, and she is going to talk about jewelry for a cause.
She helps the poor become entrepreneurs.
She does, and she's
She
very
does.
good, and she's coming up next.